Have you heard about the locked room in a hotel that holds such dark secrets that those who dare to enter never return? In the year 2024, in the enigmatic city of New Orleans, a journalist named Tom Harris decided to challenge the unknown and uncover the truth behind a massacre that has haunted the Hotel Belle Époque for many years. But this isn't just a ghost story or any urban legend. There's something much deeper and more disturbing hidden within the walls of this hotel. Something that goes beyond comprehension. A secret that, if revealed, could change everything. I am Raven Shadowmere, and this is Midnight Mysteries. Today, we're going to dive into a true account, drawn from the depths of Reddit, that will leave you feeling some mysteries are better left unanswered. Get ready, because at the end of this story, an unexpected twist will change everything you think you know. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any terrifying stories like this one. After all, you wouldn't want to miss the conclusion of this mystery, would you? The atmosphere of New Orleans enveloped me with a mix of excitement and slight dread. As I stepped out of the taxi, the humidity in the air seemed to wrap around me, and the scent of coffee and fried food filled my nostrils. The hotel, an imposing brick building with tall windows, exuded an aura of mystery. It was a place that seemed to have its own story, full of secrets and whispers from the past. The worn plaque at the entrance read, Hotel Belle Époque, and as I crossed the threshold, I was greeted by a subtle creak, as if the hotel were waking from a long slumber. The receptionist, a woman with gray hair and a penetrating gaze, stood behind the counter, shrouded in shadows. According to a small badge, her name was Mabel. As I approached, I noticed her fingers dancing over a ledger, but her eyes were fixed on me, as if scrutinizing me for something. "Welcome to the Belle Époque, sir." Her voice had a melodic tone, yet there was a slight tremor I couldn't ignore. Tom Harris, journalist," I replied, trying to conceal the growing curiosity within me. "I'm here to investigate some stories about the hotel." Mabel raised an eyebrow, a look of interest appearing on her face. "Stories, you say? This place is full of them. Especially about the locked room at the end of the hall." "Locked room?" I asked, my curiosity now transforming into a burning flame. "What's special about it?" She leaned forward, as if sharing a secret. "They say a massacre occurred there many years ago, something very dark that still haunts this hotel. No one who has tried to enter has come back to tell the tale." Those words echoed in my mind, and I felt drawn to a mystery I knew I shouldn't ignore. "Can I see the room?" My voice came out more assertive than I intended. Mabel hesitated, her gaze becoming distant, as if recalling something painful. "It's not wise, Tom. Some secrets are better left locked away. But I'm a journalist. My job is to uncover the truth," I insisted, an overwhelming urge pushing me to explore further. Something inside me knew there was more than just ghost stories. She seemed to ponder for a moment, then let out a soft sigh. "If you decide to go, be careful. The past always finds a way to return." After checking in, I took the key to my room and ascended the creaking wooden stairs. The hallway was long and dark, illuminated only by an antique lamp swaying slightly, as if an invisible wind passed through. The atmosphere was thick. Each step felt like it took me deeper into a world of shadows and whispers. As soon as I entered my room, I was immediately enveloped by the sensation that time had stopped. The walls were adorned with faded floral wallpaper, and the smell of mold filled the air. I looked out the window and saw the city pulsing outside. But inside, everything felt stagnant. I decided to explore the hotel. As I wandered the corridors, I found old framed photos capturing faces of people who seemed to watch me with sorrowful eyes. A group of men and women at a ball, all dressed elegantly, but there was something in their eyes that unsettled me. "Have you heard about the massacre?" I asked one of the few guests I encountered. An elderly man sitting in one of the worn armchairs in the lobby. He looked up, surprised by the question. "Ah yes, it was in 1920, a fateful night," he murmured, his voice dragging. "They say the souls still wander here. Do you believe it's true?" The question slipped out before I could think. "I've seen things, kid. Things you wouldn't want to see," he replied, his gaze drifting into emptiness. "This hotel keeps secrets that time cannot erase." Those words reverberated within me, a symphony of mystery and fear. As I walked back to my room, a sense of unease began to grow. What else did the hotel hide? What had happened in that locked room? I felt compelled to know. Something was calling me, and this was just the beginning. The air in the hotel felt heavier as I decided to delve into the story behind the massacre. The thought of speaking with someone who might provide more information made me anxious. I walked to the service area, where I found an old staff member, Mr. Anderson, cleaning one of the corridors. He had gray hair and an expression that mixed weariness with distrust. "Excuse me, sir," I began, trying to sound casual. "Could you tell me more about what happened here decades ago?" "About the massacre?" The old man looked at me with an expression that seemed to blend pity and warning. "Better not mess with that, young man. The past is a dark thing. It's not something to bring to light. But I'm a journalist. It's my job to investigate, and I'm really interested in the story," I insisted, trying to persuade him to open up. He hesitated, looking around as if searching for something or someone. "The people who died here, they don't rest in peace. The room you mentioned, the locked one, it should never be opened. What happened there was horrible." "But what really happened? Why is the room so important?" I asked, feeling my curiosity intensifying. "It's not just a story of murder. It's more than that. It's an echo of pain that still lives on. The room holds secrets most prefer to forget. If you go in there, you might not come out the same way you entered." Mr. Anderson spoke in a low, somber tone, as if fearing the walls might hear. "I need to know, that's why I'm here. To uncover the truth," I declared, feeling a growing determination. "If you insist," the old man sighed, resigned. "But remember, young one, the truth can be a treacherous friend. What you discover may change everything." With his words echoing in my mind, I returned to my room, resolute in my decision to enter the infamous locked room. The thought of ignoring Mr. Anderson's warnings left me uneasy, but my curiosity was stronger. I began to rummage through my room in search of tools that would help me force the entry. The desk was cluttered with papers and a small flashlight. Perhaps a little creativity will help, I thought. After a while, I found a metal bar in the hotel's laundry room. With this tool in hand, my determination solidified. "I will uncover the truth, no matter what happens," I murmured to myself as I walked down the corridor leading to the locked room. The door was covered in dust, and the air around it felt heavy. The silence was deafening, and a chilling sensation ran down my spine as I approached. With the metal bar, I slowly pried the door open. The sound of metal scraping against wood echoed through the hallway, and my hand trembled as I pushed it. Finally, the door yielded with a crack, revealing a dark room shrouded in shadows. The smell of mold and decay was intense, as if time had stopped inside. I could barely see, but a sense of oppression enveloped me. "What am I doing?" I thought. But it was too late. I stepped into the room, and what I saw left me paralyzed. The space was filled with dusty objects, like old furniture and framed photographs. The walls seemed to whisper stories of pain and despair. One portrait caught my eye. It was of a woman with a sad expression, her smile frozen in a moment that would never return. "Who are you?" I asked, feeling a presence around me. A shiver ran down my body, and the atmosphere seemed to pulse with strange energy. I looked back, expecting to see something or someone, but the silence persisted, as if the shadows were watching my every move. Suddenly, a soft whisper floated through the air. "Help us." A female voice, laden with despair, resonated. My heart raced as I tried to comprehend what was happening. Who is there? I questioned, but the only response was the echo of my own fear. The atmosphere in the room seemed to change, and I knew I had crossed a line that could not be undone. Every object around me seemed to carry a weight, a story that begged to be told, and I was now part of that narrative. The air in the room was dense, almost tangible, as if the echoes of the voices surrounding it wanted to materialize into something more. My hands trembled slightly as I examined the dusty objects on the table. A small chest, weathered by time, caught my attention. Carefully, I lifted the lid and found yellowed letters, handwritten, with words that seemed to whisper secrets of a life that was once vibrant. "Tom, you shouldn't be here." The voice was soft, almost a lament, and it made me pause. I looked around, but there was no one, just the oppressive silence, filled with whispers echoing in my mind. "Who is there?" I asked, my voice coming out more as a whisper than a question. My heart raced. The sensation of being watched intensified, as if the walls of the room were leaning in toward me. "We need you." Another voice joined the first, sharper and more desperate. "Free us." "Free you? How can I do that?" Despair began to seep into me. My feet moved unconsciously, and I approached an old photograph framed on the wall. The images of smiling people, in happy moments, cruelly contrasted with the obscurity that now surrounded that space. "You know what happened here, Tom. You just need to look closer," a third voice whispered. Closer now, as if it were right beside me. With my heart in my throat, I turned back to the chest and began to sift through the letters. Each one carried a name and a story. It was as if each word written there was imbued with the pain and anguish of the souls that once inhabited them. Margaret, Edward, Sarah. I ran my fingers over the names, feeling an inexplicable connection to those who had departed. Suddenly, the door to the room slammed shut, making my heart skip a beat. "No! No! What's happening?" I yelled, trying to push the door, but it was sealed as if an invisible weight held it shut. "The souls cannot leave until the truth comes to light." The voice echoed louder now, mingling with others. It was a chorus of laments, of desperation. "Help us, Tom. You are our only hope." I felt panic rising within me. "How can I help you? What do I need to do?" The need to escape was becoming almost unbearable, but at the same time, something within me wanted to understand, wanted to know more about those lost souls. "The answers lie in the massacre," a voice whispered, like a distant echo. "You must relive the day it all happened." And then everything around me began to swirl. The room, which had once been a refuge of mysteries, dissolved into a thick fog. And suddenly, I was no longer alone. The shadows began to stir, forming indistinct figures around me. I could feel the story pulsing, as if the souls wanted to guide me. "No! What is happening?" I shouted, trying to find a fixed point, but reality was fading away. "Live what we lived!" one of the souls screamed, and I was pulled into a vision. The air was hot and heavy, filled with screams and despair. I was there, on the day of the massacre, surrounded by people I couldn't identify, but whose palpable pain emanated from each of them. The images were vivid, blinding lights, the smell of smoke and blood. I was trapped, unable to move or scream. The tormented souls were around me, pleading for justice and acknowledgement, and I was just a spectator to their pain. "Tom, you need to understand." The voice echoed again, and I realized I was immersed in a nightmare that seemed endless. I was not just an observer. I was connected to all of it in a way I could not comprehend. The truth was approaching, but the fear of facing it was nearly paralyzing. "You are one of them. You can help us," the voices pleaded, and for a brief moment, the darkness dissipated, revealing the light of truth that I feared so much. I was surrounded by an oppressive gloom, the voices whispering around me like a chorus of laments. Desperate, I tried to navigate amidst the darkness that seemed to close in on me. Please, help me, I cried, my voice echoing through the shadows of the past. What do you want from me? The souls, once indistinct, began to manifest before me, their translucent forms vaguely human, writhing in a dance of pain and despair. One of them, a woman with long, unkempt hair, drew closer. Her empty eyes reflected a deep sadness. "We will only find peace if you uncover what happened here," she said, her voice as soft as a whispering wind. "Our cries have been stifled, and the truth remains hidden." I felt the pressure in my chest grow heavier, the weight of responsibility crushing me. But how can I do this? What exactly happened? You must discover who the true culprit is. The massacre was not merely an act of violence. It was an echo of betrayals and secrets. "One of the killers may still be alive," replied a man, emerging beside me, his face etched with pain. "We cannot rest until the truth is revealed." His words penetrated my mind like a sharp blade. The idea that one of the killers was still alive sent a chill down my spine. But where do I start? What should I do? I asked, feeling as if each word was a thread of hope amidst the despair. "Start with the diary," whispered a feminine voice, almost inaudible, as if she were drifting away. "The diary of one of the victims. It holds secrets you cannot imagine." I knew I needed to act quickly. The atmosphere around me grew increasingly heavy, as if the souls were becoming more agitated, more desperate. "Where can I find this diary?" I insisted, my mind racing with the amount of information I needed to process. "In the walls of this hotel," said the man, his expression grim. "The secrets are hidden in every corner. Pay attention to the details, they are the key." Following his instructions, my mind whirled as I looked around the dark room. The walls seemed to pulse, as if they held memories that were about to be released. I walked over to a dusty bookshelf and began examining the books. "Please, help me find it," I murmured, feeling the presence of the souls around me, almost as if they were guiding me. Finally, one book stood out among the others. The title was nearly faded, but the pages were intact. "This must be the diary," I thought, my fingers trembling as I pulled it from the shelf. As I opened it, the smell of aged paper filled my nostrils, and the words danced before my eyes. "She wrote her last words here," I thought, my voice barely a whisper. "I need to understand." As I read, the woman's story began to unfold before me. There were details about the fateful night, about who was present, and most importantly, about the betrayal that led to the massacre. My heart raced as I realized that her connection to the hotel was deeper than I had imagined. She was not just a victim. There was something more, something that tied her story to mine. "Did you find it?" the woman asked, her voice now stronger, almost a command. "Yes," I replied, still absorbing the information. "But this is just the beginning. I need to know more. You have to confront what is hidden," she insisted, urgency resonating in her voice. "Only then can we find peace." The pressure intensified, as if the hotel itself was reacting to the revelation. I could feel that something was about to happen, something that could change everything. The souls began to swirl around me, and the sense that time was running out grew stronger. I needed to act. "Where is the killer?" I asked, barely able to hide the anxiety in my voice. "He is closer than you think," whispered the man, and the tension in the air was palpable. "But be careful, Tom. The truth may be more painful than you imagine." With the diary in hand and the pressure of the souls pushing me forward, I knew I needed to discover more. The hotel held secrets that I was determined to unravel. The atmosphere in the room was charged, as if the air was filled with electricity, and I knew time was running out. The souls, once merely whispering, began to manifest more aggressively. I could feel their pain and rage pulsing around me, like a storm about to break. I looked at the dusty walls, where shadows seemed to dance, and took a deep breath. It was time to act. "If I don't do this now, they will never find peace," I murmured to myself, trying to gather courage. The spirit of the killer was somewhere nearby, and I needed to confront him. With determination coursing through my veins, I began to piece together the information I had collected during my investigation. The notes from the diary, the yellowed photographs, and the accounts I had heard became pieces of a puzzle I needed to solve. A stronger presence made itself known. The murmurs turned to screams, and the souls began to manifest physically, their ethereal forms twisting in a grotesque dance of pain and fury. I began to recognize some faces, those who had suffered in the massacre. "Please, help me find him," I cried. But the response was just an echo of their voices, intertwined in a collective scream that left me even more anguished. "He is coming! He is coming!" One of the souls, a woman with a pale face and empty eyes, pointed to the shadows gathering in the corner of the room. My heart raced. I knew that the confrontation with the spirit of the killer was inevitable. I had no choice. "Come then, I'm here!" I shouted, challenging the darkness. The room began to tremble, and a figure started to emerge from the shadows. It was an indistinct form, but I could feel the malevolence radiating from it. "You shouldn't be here, Tom." Its voice was a deep, threatening whisper. "This is a place of pain and despair. You have no idea what you are invoking." "I know exactly what I'm doing," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I know what you did, and it's time for you to face what you caused." He laughed, a low, disturbing sound. "You think you can defeat me? I am the reason you are here. You and I are more alike than you realize." Those words pierced me like a knife. What did he mean by that? Was there something deeper? A connection I couldn't comprehend? "You're lying," I shouted, even though a part of me began to doubt. What did he mean? What was in my past that could be linked to him? "The souls need justice." "Justice?" He moved closer, his presence becoming more oppressive. "You cannot give them what they never had. You are here because of the pain you carry, and that is what keeps them trapped, just like you." Those words echoed in my mind. I felt he was right. The weight of my past, the guilt I carried, it all kept me bound, but I couldn't let it consume me. "No!" I shouted, raising my hands toward him. "I am not you!" The room began to spin, and the voices of the souls became a deafening cacophony. "Free us! Free us! You are the key. Confront him." The pressure mounted, and I knew I needed to find a way to defeat him, not just to free them, but to free myself as well. "I am not afraid of you," I yelled, trying to summon the strength I needed. "I will face my past, and you cannot stop me." The souls began to stir, and the energy in the room seemed to shift. It was as if I was becoming part of the struggle, a force that could not be ignored. And so, amidst the darkness, fear, and pain, I prepared for the final confrontation. I needed to uncover the truth, not just about him, but about myself. Reality around me began to unravel like a poorly painted canvas, and I found myself in a labyrinth of memories and nightmares. There I was, face to face with a distorted version of myself. The man before me was not just a vengeful spirit, but the personification of my own guilt and regrets. He had the same gaze as I did, but there was a shadow of cruelty and despair that made me tremble. You are me?" The question slipped from my lips, almost a whisper. The figure moved closer, his eyes shining with an intensity that made me recoil. "I am everything you never wanted to be," he replied, his voice echoing as if it was coming from a deep cavern. "I am what you buried beneath layers of denial, what you lacked the courage to face." A sharp pain pierced my chest as memories began to flow, revealing a family tragedy I had buried, my younger brother, whom I had promised to protect. The fight, the argument, and in the heat of the moment, the fall that changed everything, the guilt that surrounded me like a dense fog. This was what I did not want to see, what I could not deal with. "You killed him," I shouted, the truth cutting like a blade. "And now you want to punish me for it?" "What I want," he retorted, "is for you to face the truth. You cannot escape what you did." And as long as you continue to hide, these souls will remain trapped here, just like you. The voices of the victims began to echo around me, their stories of pain and suffering intertwining with my past. I saw the face of each one, reflecting the anguish I carried myself. In a moment of clarity, I realized that to free them, I would need to confront what I had always fled. "If I face you, what will happen?" I asked, my voice trembling. "You will have to decide. Remain here and be consumed by your guilt, or free us all, including yourself." A wave of determination coursed through my body. I could not allow this cycle of pain to continue. I looked at my distorted self, and instead of fear, a new feeling took over me. Acceptance. "I accept my guilt," I declared, feeling the energy in the air shift. "I am no longer that person who hides. I will face what I did." The spirit hesitated, and in a moment of weakness, his form began to fade. "You may not be what I am anymore, but the pain we carry never disappears." "I know," I replied, "but I will not let it define me. It's time to free these spirits, and perhaps myself." The souls around me began to glow with a soft light, their forms becoming clearer, as if they were waiting for this moment. They drew closer to me, and instead of terror, I felt compassion. "Please help us," a feminine voice whispered, and I understood they were not just seeking revenge. They wanted peace. Gathering all my strength, I began to recite their stories. One by one, I recalled their names, their lives, everything they did, and everything they dreamed of. The energy in the room began to pulse, and the souls started to gather around me, forming a shining circle. "You free yourselves," I shouted, feeling a wave of power rising from within me. "Leave your pains behind." In that moment, a new presence emerged, a shadow that seemed to feed off what was happening. The room vibrated with an intensity I had never felt before. I looked at the new figure, and a chill ran down my spine. "It's not over, Tom," the voice whispered, echoing like thunder. "You may have freed some souls, but the true torment is yet to come." My heart raced as I realized that the battle was far from over. The hotel, with its whispering walls and buried secrets, seemed more alive than ever. A new wave of challenges was about to unfold, and I would have to face not only the ghosts of the past, but also the dark forces still inhabiting that place. "Get ready, Tom," I murmured to myself, taking a deep breath. "This is only the beginning." The story you've just heard is more than just a simple tale of horror. It's a grim reminder that the past always finds a way to resurface, especially when buried secrets are unearthed. Tom Harris, with his thirst for answers, discovered that sometimes the truth is scarier than any legend. The massacre that occurred at the Belle Époque Hotel was not just a violent event from the past. It was the echo of unresolved traumas, of souls that never found peace. The true culprit, a shadow of Tom himself, showed that often our worst demons are those we carry within us. Tom's struggle was not only against the supernatural forces inhabiting the hotel, but also against the ghosts of his own guilt and regret. Have you ever stopped to think about the secrets hidden within the walls of the places you visit? Perhaps not all of them are just urban legends. Some stories, as we've seen today, are true, and their consequences can be terrifying. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your greatest fear? Comment below. Share your own horror stories or inexplicable experiences. Who knows? The next terrifying story from Midnight Mysteries might be inspired by something you tell us. If you've made it this far, it's because, like me, you can't resist a good mystery. And so, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with me until the end of this story. Your presence and support are what keep Midnight Mysteries alive and allow us to continue exploring the darkest and most haunting corners of the world. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't waste any time. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like. This not only helps me keep bringing you these terrifying stories, but it also ensures that you never miss an episode. And if you really want to help spread the fear, the entertainment, share this video with your friends. Who knows? They might also be ready to face the hidden secrets lurking in the shadows. And of course, if you're the type who loves mysteries and spooky tales, keep an eye out for the next video. I promise, it will be something that keeps you up at night, wondering if you really want to know what lies in the dark.
Oh.